What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. It is, depending on whether you're listening or watching, Friday, November 5th, if you're listening on the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, it could be Thursday, November 4th. That's right. You can watch us make the picks for week 9 and every single week of the NFL season a day early if you hang out with us on YouTube, youtube.com/pick6, or search for Pick Six in the YouTube app. You want to come and chat with us, make fun of me? You can do it. We are live Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, after every single primetime game. Tuesday at 1 p.m., Ryan Wilson hosts a mock draft show, and Thursdays at 1 p.m. I'm joined by Pete Prisco and RJ White. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Let me get something out of the way. The jackass that sent the review about me, bring it, buddy. Bring it, buddy.
What did he say, Devo? What was the he said he gave us 4 stars and said fire Prisco.
He said good. The subject was good, but clean house.
Oh, that's right. Good. Yeah. Not that we run a clean house, because this house is filthy and repugnant. But he's saying clean the house. You got to clean the house. Get rid of the rats.
So he wants me and RJ gone, or just me?
Just you.
All right.
His username was K Port. I don't know what that means. Like,
no, it was probably at jackass.
Jay Gert. It was like Jay Gert or something. I don't know.
Hey, I'll be. If you want me to get off the podcast, if you don't want me, that's okay. Give me another hour to watch tape all afternoon. I'll be happy with
people
that.
like you here. Hey, by the way, since I haven't talked to you since last Thursday, RJ, how about them Braves?
Hell yeah, it was a great no sweat toward the end, so it just felt great being able to soak it in for. I mean, you can't count on them winning until you get to the 6th or 7th and they're up big, and you're like, okay, I think even then, I think we're starting to get this.
Joe Buck was like, Brian Snitker's been waiting for this for a long time. It's like it's the 6th inning, Joe. You were in Houston when the Falcons were up 28-3 over the Patriots. Like in the same, like you were 100 yards away or whatever, however far away it is. Maybe don't do this. Okay. Maybe you don't bring up like an Atlanta team cruising to a title in the city of Houston while you're on the mic, in the 6th inning, buddy.
You guys both bandwagon jumpers? Is that what you are? Or you been
lifelong?
Yeah, I've been on this bandwagon since I was 4 years old, I think, 5 years old. So yeah.
Okay, you lived in Atlanta, is that correct, RJ, at one point?
I lived in northeastern Alabama. We were right next to the highway that goes to Atlanta, so we were about 2 hours outside.
So, okay, Brinson, because the Braves were always on TBS in the South. Is that why?
No, I mean you're just in the South. You're just a Braves fan.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody from Virginia, maybe in Virginia, all the way down to even Texas. You got Braves fans there. I mean, it's incredible.
Although it's weird. So like Eastern North Carolina is all they're Washington football fans, but they also Braves fans. It's a very bizarre, they didn't pick up on the Orioles.
Did Felix Millan get a hit in the World Series?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, he's a Braves guy. He used to hit the hell out of the ball in the 60s.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but not
that old.
Not around in the 60s. I'm not that big. Pete, were you did you like the Boston Braves or were you more of a Milwaukee?
No, it's funny because I was much more of a baseball fan back in the day than I am now.
The New York Highlanders, right?
Yeah. I know more baseball players from back in the day than I do now. It's pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing. All right, let's we don't need to delay it. Hey, go Braves. Awesome win. That's my first title for any one of my teams since 1995. I thought as a kid, like I was a Duke fan growing up. Obviously switched when I went to NC State, which in hindsight pretty stupid of me. But I thought the first 14 years of my life is just titles. It's like, your team just wins titles. This is what happens. And then 1995 to 2021, nada. Finally, back on top.
I'm trying to think if I've ever had a title one in my, because I rooted for the New York Giants as a kid, and growing up. And by the time I started covering the league, I don't root for anybody anymore. But I rooted for the Giants, and when they won their first Super Bowl, so yeah, that one counts. Knicks, yeah, they won some. That counts. When I was a kid, it's been a while. Yankees won plenty.
If you're a Yankees fan, what if you're a Yankees fan? You got I don't. It's like
the
a
Yankees game when I was a kid. I went to Yankees
but
games
the Yankees
when I was a
have
kid.
27 titles. If you're a Yankees fan, you just don't even get to even complain about the possibility of not having titles draped all around your, like draped all over the place, laying around the house. You're like Ty Webb in Caddyshack.
Yeah, but we used to go to the game. We used to go to the games when they were lean back in the day when Mickey Mantle was dragging his leg around and they were winning nothing. It was terrible. But Arizona State's the one. That's the only one I root for now, and that ain't never happening.
Would you settle for up high, down hard? If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that Devo has posted our rundown, and it says in giant capital letters, list of Arizona State football titles, and there's nothing there.
No, there is nothing. Although in 1996, they should have won it that year. They blew it.
Oh, is that Plummer?
Yeah. The guy didn't leave enough. He left too much time on the clock in the fourth quarter.
Would you settle for for us, for NC State? I mean, like I sort of think at this point, I would treat an ACC title like a championship.
No, I don't, because I've done that. They've done that already.
Oh, okay. I mean, a national title is just really, really hard to do in college football.
But at least get in the playoffs. That's all I want. I want to go sit at the 50 at a playoff game. That's all I want. And if you win it, you win it. If you don't, you don't.
Sure. Just want to solve.
But we need to get Herm out of there.
Got my one right here. If you can see it over my shoulder.
Was that UT? Is it the Vince Young game?
The Vince Young game.
Best college football game of all time
ever.
That was a great game.
It was glorious. Screamed my lungs out. It was amazing.
So you've got so you got Texas and Braves. Only thing left is for the Pete's prophecy to come true. And
Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills. It's actually looking pretty good this year. I mean, for me,
it really is.
Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs suck and the Bills are starting to get rolling, and they're 14.5-point favorites in Jacksonville this weekend. Let's get to the games. More importantly, I think it's time to really settle in and marinate on a recap of last week's outcome in terms of against the spread picks and how people did. I haven't looked, but let's just check it out. Look at that. Interesting.
No, wait a second. You went 4-2. Is that counting? Is that counting the Vikings over?
Yes. We're taking the Vikings over out because Dak didn't play. Debo, I need to really. Pete says we can't take it out. No. I want 4-1.
No, I think what we've done over the past couple of years, we have not taken it out. We've gone with what we did on Thursday.
You don't take it out. I had Texans thinking Tyrod was going to play. I don't want that taken out. That's
literally said. But I mean, like, I'm not taking that Dallas over if Dak doesn't play.
But we could find probably a case a week or 10 cases a year.
Was announced like right after this podcast.
You just don't play.
It happens all the time. You're eating it.
Boo.
Still 4-2. 4-2. That's the. Go ahead.
I mean, there was no lock that he was playing. This was all known when you made that.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. There was still uncertainty if he was playing. Yes, it was.
Yeah, the line had been moving. I mean,
here's the other thing.
The line hadn't moved until after the podcast. After we get over the podcast, the line moved from Vikings.
But it doesn't matter. There was still uncertainty whether he was going to play. You're not getting that one. Hey, look, the F student got a C- this week, so let's clap for him.
4-1 this week for me.
4-2.
4-1. I lost. The only thing I lost was the WFT Denver over. By the way, Washington, I mean, do something on someone else's. On the other side of someone's field. Pathetic, man. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Hey, I had Washington in the game. That was one of my losers.
That was one of your 4 losers as you went 3-4. RJ 2-3.
I'm the moron who made the late addition and added the Vikings. Otherwise, I would have been 3-3. Moron.
I'm glad I wasn't 0-5. I figured that by the time Brinson had a winning week, I would of course go winless. But 2-3 seems like an accomplishment here.
I'm trying to think. Am I wearing a this is Eagles. This is Eagles Patriots, not Patriots Texans. I don't know if I was wearing that Super Bowl. Anyway, overall records, we can just skip over that and move on to the actual games. RJ and Pete both doing well. I'm still Pete under 500 now. 25-26. I'm 19-34. My God, that's so pathetic. RJ 28-21. If you want all of RJ's picks, you can go to sportsline.com/join. Use promo code WHITE to get your first month for $1. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. Whether we're watching live or whether you're watching on a replay, hit the like button. the more likes we get, the more we can give away Pick Six podcast items like there's hoodies and t-shirts and pint glasses and all kinds of stuff. Let's get to, by the way, our Ryan Wilson's pop-in parlay did not hit. Lions, Bengals, and Titans.
He had a bad week. He had a bad week last week. We mushed him.
Congrats, boys. We mushed him.
We got it. We got him, guys. That's how you know that Wilson's in trouble, when he pops on this podcast to like peacock around and talk about his picks. That's when you know the blimp is coming crashing down. Like it's,
yes, indeed.
Yeah, he's the helium balloon, and here it comes.
Well, to be fair, I don't think he came on to brag about his picks. He just came to dunk on you, really.
That's right. Right. But when he's look, there's regression coming, and it's going to come fast. I'm not saying you should fade all of Wilson's picks every week moving forward, but there's a decent chance he hits like 40% of his picks for the rest of the season.
He's not saying that either. I looked at the expert page, and it looks like all Will did was go down Bro Ryan's column and just take the opposite.
This week?
No, I don't know if that's true or not, but I just assume that's what you're doing. You're like, okay, what did he take? Oh, he's on the Bills. I got the Jaguars.
Yeah, yesterday we were like, we were doing the HQ. We were doing HQ, and I think it was Ryan Stryker emailed us, was like, what do you guys want for your pick and prop? And I was like leaning towards the Colts on Thursday night. Obviously, the game has already happened by the time that people are listening on the podcast, because this comes out on Friday. But and Wilson was like, I've got Colts minus 10.5. I was like, I'll take the Jets. Just give me the Jets. Let's get to the actual games for this weekend, though. Packers at the Chiefs. This talk about one of the wilder swings you'll ever see in terms of line movement. The Chiefs were favored by, was it the Chiefs by 4, and then the Packers
3.
I saw 3, and then it moved to Packers.
The Chiefs were minus 3 before the Monday Night Football game. Then the Chiefs looked like crap against the Giants at home. It moves to Packers minus 1, and then Aaron Rodgers' Vaxgate happens, and Rodgers, who will be missed 10 games because he is what did he say?
10 days. 10 days.
10 days. 10 games. Yeah, 10 days. What did he say he was? Immunized. Right. He had said back in August he's immunized. He's been flaunting the league's COVID policies, not wearing a mask on the sidelines, et cetera, acting as if he was vaccinated. It turns out he was not vaccinated. He took some, I think apparently his girlfriend, Miss Woodley, who's a Hollywood actress, has some kind of at-home vaccination thing, that's kind of exciting, but does not qualify under league policies. Rodgers actually he petitioned the NFL to allow his holistic home medicine vax to count. The NFL said no dice. So basically everybody's known he hasn't been vaxxed, and yet he's just been operating like this. I'm curious to see what the league does to the Packers. It would be hilarious if they take away a first-round pick from him.
They won't take it away. They'll fine him like $500,000 or something.
That's a lot of money for Packers owners. It's $1 a piece. Anyway, now the Chiefs are minus 7.5 because Aaron Rodgers won't play in this game. The Packers actually looks like it might come back down to 7 based on that. The juice on the Packers there. Over under 48. Pete, are you in, dare I say, love with the Packers?
I'm taking the Packers. I think this is a way, way big of an overreaction. I just think they're going to run the ball. It's not like the Chiefs' defense is any good. I mean, they haven't stopped anybody. They are getting a little bit better. And the offense has been disjointed. It just hasn't looked very good. Mahomes hasn't looked very good. I thought Monday night was going to be the game that got back on track. It didn't happen. I'm not going to see him get back on track in a big way in this one. So if you're going to give me over a touchdown, Rodgers isn't there, but they can run the ball. So run the ball, keep the game lower scoring. I'm taking the Packers plus the 7.5.
Yeah, we get to see now what Jordan Love will do in this offense when they envisioned drafting him, a couple of years ago, and he's been sitting. So he got the benefit from full week of practice as a starter since this happened earlier in the week. He doesn't get thrown into the fire last minute. I think Aaron Rodgers is worth more than 7.5 points. I think that it is fair to move it. I would move it more just because of his experience and what we've seen with him. So if I was reopening the line, I probably would have opened it higher. But I also don't trust the Chiefs to cover a big number against anyone right now. I like the Giants on Monday, and the Chiefs just look like they're stumbling over themselves. This is a much bigger game for the Chiefs based on the standings, but it's a tough road environment for Green Bay and for Love making a start. So to me, there's a better chance that Love is solid rather than Kansas City fixing all the issues that Pete talked about in 1 week. So I would lean that way too, the way he's saying. But I think the better play here at this number is to tease it down and get it back under 3. So Chiefs minus 1.5 is part of my teaser.
I've got the Packers as the best bet. 7.5 is just too much. I don't disagree that Aaron Rodgers is a huge factor when it comes to the spread. Like he's, the reigning MVP. He's played awesome football. Clearly you'd much rather have Aaron Rodgers, based on last week, you'd much rather have Devontae Adams miss a game than Aaron Rodgers miss a game if you're a Packers fan. But the Chiefs just aren't playing good football right now. And Green Bay sort of has the formula where they can keep it close, run the football, play your two high safeties, force it, Patrick Mahomes to take stuff underneath. I mean, we've seen this happening week after week after week where there's this, there's a defensive and offensive formula for teams that are playing against the Chiefs. And I think the Packers can replicate that even if they don't have Aaron Rodgers. Now, I'm not expecting them to win, but I do think they'll keep it close. And remember, we've seen this before in this matchup. This is I think twice wasn't last year? Was it 2 years ago when Mahomes missed? And I said Matt Moore, Chad Henne almost either led him to victory or kept it close against the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. So I think it's possible that we see Jordan Love flirt with a win in this game, but ultimately the Chiefs come away. I like the idea of that teaser, RJ. I just think it falls in the number here.
Yeah, I'll get to my second leg too. I think there are 3 clear teaser legs, especially if you can get one number that we all like it. We'll get to that here in a second.
I bet we will. And it is Sunday Night Football. Titans at the Rams. The Derrick Henry-less Titans, who, by the way, just saw this, and it was saw Evan Silva tweet about it, but it was something along the effect of Todd Downing, the Titans offensive coordinator, said that he would be crazy to let's see. He said, I'd be doing this offense a disservice if I jerked the wheel on our identity at this point of the season with Derrick Henry out. So no Derrick Henry, just keep running the same offense with Jeremy McNichols. I'm sure that'll work out perfectly well. The Rams are 7.5-point favorites, total here at 53.5, Pete.
Yeah, and look, you defend them differently. With no Derrick Henry, you get to play the safeties off, and that's going to put more pressure on Tannehill to throw the football. Where's Julio Jones? Those guys, you need those guys out there if you're going to change the way you play. And he can talk all he wants about he's not going to change the way he plays. Defenses will mandate you change the way he plays. So I think you can want to run the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball as well. But I also think defensively they're bad. I know they played better lately, but they're not a good defense. This offense for the Rams can score, and they're going to score a lot of points. So I think both teams will get some points, get some chucks down the field from Tannehill, and the Rams will score. So for that reason, the over is a best bet for me in this one.
Oh, he's over 53.5. The look ahead here was Rams -4. And while Von Miller's a big part of that move, getting Von Miller, you're not going to move the line a ton based on that defensive, upgrade. It's an over adjustment for Derrick Henry net, I think, this 3.5-point move. The Rams have had cake matchups for 3 straight weeks, and it's hard to gauge kind of how good they are. I mean, I have them as a top 3 team in my power ratings. So I'm not saying they're bad or anything, but we just don't know anything about them when you're playing cake teams over and over every week. I do have Tennessee still above 0 in my ratings as a pass first team, so I think they're above average. Julio did return to practice Wednesday, so if he's able to play, I think that Tennessee can keep it close. I would put this line at Titans +6 or Rams -6, obviously, but I'm not going to make that a best bet. What I'm going to do is I still think the Rams win the game. I'm with Pete there, so I'm going to put that as part of the teaser. So tease the Rams down to -1.5 along with the Chiefs at -1.5. That'll be my teaser this week.
I wish this was like 6.5 so I could take the Rams because I think the Rams could blow them out. But, with the Titans' ability to score and the requirement of them to sort of crank up the I don't buy what Todd Downing's saying. I think he's going to have to throw, especially against the Rams, who we've seen them up with 31 points in the game against multiple basement dwellers in the Texans and the Giants. They continued to throw. I don't know if I love the decision to release Deshaun Jackson because I felt like he was still a viable deep threat, but I understand why. If he's being a sourpuss in the locker room or whatever, you're going to get rid of him. The addition of Von Miller, though, I do love, and I anticipate him playing this game. I think he'll get after Ryan Tannehill, and ultimately the Titans will just have to chase points here. The Rams will probably give up. We saw them against the Texans; they gave up points late in garbage time. So I see a situation where the Rams score big, score early, and then the Titans are coming back and throwing, and the Rams have to kind of keep their foot on the gas here in order to make sure the Titans don't storm, don't manage to like pull off some crazy comeback. So I like the over here as well on Sunday Night Football. That is a best bet for me. Cardinals -1 at the 49ers. Over under 46, Pete.
Yeah, and the Cardinals are a good team, but when Kyler Murray's banged up, he's a different quarterback, and they're different offensively. We saw that last year, and he's banged up. I mean, he's really banged up. And so I don't think he's the same quarterback when he's hurting. He's a small guy. He's got to get outside the pocket. It's hard to move when you're hurt. And we saw what they did last year when he got hurt. So Jimmy Garoppolo played out. For him, he played outstanding last week against the Bears. Now, the Bears were banged up as well, but he did a really good job of moving the football around, and he even ran it a couple of times for touchdowns. So for that reason, I just think in the division game, I'm taking the 49ers. I think they win this game outright, and because Murray's banged up, and it's a different offense.
And DeAndre Hopkins isn't a lock to play either. He's got an injury, and he was missed practice on Wednesday. AJ Green's on the COVID list, so I know they're deep at receiver, but at some point, you're throwing to Rondale Moore as your number one or Christian Kirk, and it's kind of the offense you've had before you even got DeAndre Hopkins at that point. So this line was 3. It came crashing down to pick him on Tuesday with the uncertainty with Kyler. There was some buyback. It looked like I guess there's some optimism that he will play. To me, it looks like he's trending toward not playing, and even if he does, like Pete said, he's going to be severely limited. San Fran's offense coming off of that impressive win against Chicago with those guys missing, like Pete said. Defense didn't really look great there, and I'm less worried about their defense if they're facing Colt McCoy. Arizona won the first meeting. It was a close game, though. San Fran outgained him in yardage, and Trey Lance was at quarterback. So, I mean, that's a little bit of a downgrade to the San Francisco offense there. So I'm also on a best bet of 49ers +1 because I think Kyler does sit. This was the other possible teaser. Like, I'd like to get it above 7, but I think you're fine teasing it up to +7 if all you can get is -1. Actually put Chiefs Cardinals in a teaser because I had the Rams earlier in the week with the Cowboys when that line was still a little bit lower, so I could tease them under 3. So those are kind of my 2 teasers I'm riding this week.
Well, put in the parlay because I like the 49ers as well. Obviously, I was on the 49ers before the season, and this is just a good buy spot. They're at home. They're an underdog, a home dog in a division game where we learned the last time these two teams played, it was like, all right, we think San Francisco is probably better. San Francisco was like heavily favored by more than 3 points. Or not heavily favored, but they were favored by more than 3 points at Arizona. I guess that's right, isn't it? That seems crazy in hindsight, doesn't it? That the 49ers were like 3.5 point favorites in Arizona against a team that was undefeated just a week ago. I think you just I know it's taking the points. You're not really getting a whole lot of cushion with +1, but I want to take the points in these division games. And I really want to take the points if it's possible that Kyler Murray doesn't play, because what do we think, RJ? This line moves to 49ers -5 or 6 if Kyler doesn't play?
Yeah, I think you have to value him at least 6 points. I'd probably go 7, 7.5. I mean, he's been a little limited. He hasn't played as well the last few weeks, but if it's pick 'em, with the uncertainty already baked in, and it was 3, maybe move it to 4, 4.5 if he's out.
Yeah.
49ers
and as Jacob points out in the chat, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube right now, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button while you're at it. Hit the alert button. Bash all the buttons, except the thumbs down one. Don't hit that one. Hit the thumbs up button right there by the share button. Hit the like button. Go. Do it now. As Jacob says, you could just take the 49ers money line at +100 instead of taking them +1. -110. I have no problem with that, right? I mean, it's the same. I mean, if the 49ers lose by 1, you would theoretically save yourself, but you would get less at risk. Anyway, basically the same bet. Yeah, I like the 49ers. I think they win this one. And that's one where you bet it now too, because if Kyler is out, as we just point out, that line moves a ton. And we've seen Kyler down the stretch last year when he was all banged up. I mean, he doesn't play nearly as well when he's dealing with these injuries because he's more hesitant to run. And when you take away, I know he hadn't run as much this year, but when you take away some of that mobility, all of a sudden it limits what he can do. So
and it's not just running to run; it's running to throw.
Correct. Yeah, it's not like he hasn't been doing these design runs or running a bunch this season, but he has run around in the backfield a bunch and made big throws and made big plays, and that's a big part of his game. And so if he's limited, that will change things. Or if Colt McCoy plays, you feel really good about San Francisco. So put that in the parlay. That is a best bet for me as well.
I do think that if you're not a believer in San Fran, I would still, and you think Kyler is going to miss the game, I say play it now anyway for a small play, because you can come up with a much bigger play, later in the week, if he does get ruled out, and San Fran is 4.5, you could take the Cardinals for a much bigger spot. You'll then get that window. But your more confident play is obviously going to be the bigger one after that move.
Sure. I agree with that. If you like the Cardinals. Falcons at the Saints. Saints -6, over under 42. I know that, you can kind of blindly guess that some, Pete Prisco, the world's biggest Taysom Hill fan, probably very excited about betting on the Saints here and Taysom Hill in this spot at home against a division rival.
No, I'm on the other side. And it's not because of him, but it goes back to my theory on big game emotions. And we've seen it again. We've seen it play out every single time this year. It happened with the Rams and then they lost to the Cardinals after they beat the Bucs. It happened when the Ravens put a ton into beating the Chargers and then lost at home to the Bengals. The Bengals won that game, put a ton into that, went to the Jets and lost. And I think that the Bills beat the Chiefs on the road, went to Tennessee and lost. I just think when you put so much effort and so much time and so much resources into winning a big game, you're naturally going to be let down the next week. And this is always a rivalry anyways, like each other. The Saints are a better team. In a normal spot, I might not take the Falcons here, particularly with Ridley not playing. But I'm taking them plus the 6 because I think all of that will be in play here and it will not be a blowout.
The interesting thing is it opened at 6. It moved down a little bit to 5.5 early in the week, either Tuesday or Wednesday. Now we're showing at Caesars at 6.5. So it seems like there's been some movement. Some people believe in the Saints. It's interesting they're favored by 6.5, considering they just lost their quarterback. It kind of tells you how bad Atlanta is. I figure New Orleans commits to the run game here against that Atlanta defense that just gave up 203 rushing yards. Atlanta down a weapon with Ridley stepping away. Quality Saints defense, I think, is going to be able to stop them. So I think just in terms of team strength, even without the quarterback, 6 is where I have it now. So I'm not looking to play the spread. I would kind of look to the under a little bit, thinking that it's going to be a game where the Saints are moving the ball on the ground, the clock's chewing up, and the Falcons aren't scoring many points anyway.
Look at that total too, 42 for a Saints-Falcons game. What a world we live in. I would agree with you on the under. I don't think it's a high-scoring game. We have, we have a team in the Falcons that has beaten, I believe, the Giants, Jets, WFT, and just lost to the Panthers. They got blasted by the only good team they played, the Buccaneers. The Saints are a good team, maybe not on offense right now, but on defense, they are very good, and they can run the football. I think they blow out the Falcons here in sort of a come-together game post Jameis Winston injury where they try to figure out the quarterback situation on the fly. Not a best bet for me. With the Saints, I don't believe. Devo, did I send that in? No. But I do like the Saints to win big here, and I think they will cover. Vikings at the Ravens. The Ravens -6 with a surprisingly high over-under 49.5 here, Pete.
Yeah, I was a moron last week. I bucked all my trends and said Kirk Cousins can't play well in big games, and he doesn't, and I picked him anyways as one of my best bets like an idiot. I'm going back to him this week, though, because it's not really a big game. In terms of the landscape, it's not a big game. I'm back to Kirk Cousins. I think he's going to move the football. I thought they were really predictable on offense against the Cowboys. If he hits the shot down the field to Justin Jefferson to make it 14-0, which he should have hit, it's a different game. He missed it, and then he went in the tank the rest of the way. He'll play better here. The Ravens are coming off a bye. I think both teams will score points. But I'm going to take the points again. That's my theme this week. I think it's too many. I'll take the Vikings in the points.
Minnesota should be embarrassed against that awful performance against Cooper Rush. It was pathetic. And, I don't know why we had to make that pick, Pete. I know you're saying, big spot, whatever. And we play against him, but you knew that line was going to move. And if Dak was going to be out, so you just had to take that value. And Minnesota came up way short. They have Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, one of the highest priced quarterbacks in the league, and they still scored 20 points in 3 of their last 4 games. So I think Mike Zimmer has long lost his fastball on defense. I can't just blindly trust he's going to figure things out at this point. They lost Daniil Hunter for the year. and they can't exploit that Baltimore weakness now at tackle that we know that's been a problem this season with Ronnie Stanley out because their best pass rushers now on the shelf. Baltimore's had 2 weeks to stew on that Cincinnati loss during their bye. I think they're going to take it out on Minnesota here. They also lost last year coming out of the bye to Pittsburgh. They dominated the stats in that game. So it's a fake result. I don't count that they're bad coming out of the bye. They just absolutely bludgeoned them, and they had that Spillane interception that kicked that off. And they really outplayed the Steelers despite the scoreboard there. So I think they typically play well coming out of the bye. You just have to, avoid weirdness like that to cover. I'm a heavy lean on Baltimore -6. I was going to play it as a best bet at 5.5. 6, I'm probably still going to play it at this point, but I'm going to wait a little bit, see if I can get it at least at 6 back and it comes back down.
I got the Ravens as a best bet, and basically I don't think Minnesota has it. Now this could end up being a shootout just because when we see the Vikings, we talk about this every week, but it's like the Vikings are more than willing to raise the plays run floor of every single team in the NFL. Whoever they play, they get, they want to run the football. They want to be Dalvin Cook. They want to be Alexander Madison. They want to pound the football and play great defense. That's what Mike Zimmer wants to do. But as RJ points out, he ain't got it. They're not good. They're bad against the run. Danielle Hunter's missing. Patrick Peterson's missing. This defense is hemorrhaging guys. And the Ravens offensively, they're passing a lot more than they have in years past with Lamar Jackson. And they should be able to find plenty of success both on the ground and in the air against a Vikings defense that is fairly toothless. We just saw this. Did the total go up while we were talking about this game? Up to 50? Did it move up half a point? I could see a shootout here. I could also see Baltimore just dropping 40 plus on the Vikings out of the bye. I will take the Ravens -6 as a best bet. The Raiders are -3 at the Giants with an over under of 46.5. Obviously, the Raiders are, look, this is the second time in a month where something. The Henry Ruggs thing is a tragedy. It's awful. Someone lost their life because he made multiple poor decisions, and he will probably end up going to jail for a pretty lengthy amount of time based on what we've seen so far. I don't mean to lump it with the John Gruden stuff, but it is, in a month. It is almost unprecedented. Controversy is the right word, but just an unprecedented circumstance occurring around this team. The last time when Gruden resigned, they rallied and beat the Broncos. This, I don't know. I don't know what you do here. If you're the Raiders, how you sort of gather yourself and go on the road with what's going on around the team off the field. Raiders -3, Pete, over under 46.5.
Yeah. And that's somewhat why I'm playing the Giants, and here is one of my best bets. But also, you're going all in a long way for a trip. That's a long trip, and I usually like to look at those and see how they handle it. And I think if you have a team that hasn't had these kind of issues before, I'd say, okay, well, they've handled them before, but how many of these can you handle? And that's the question. And so from that standpoint, I thought the Giants, I know they're still a little hurt. They got some injuries, but maybe I'll have Galladay back this week. That'll help them. And I thought they played pretty hard against the Chiefs, and that's a good sign. So I think they'll play hard. I think they actually will win the game. I think this is one of those spots where you're going to get the home team and get 3 points. I'll take it.
The Raiders did play well after the Gruden dismissal, and that's kind of more of a shock to the system to me. This is sudden as well, but that's your coach. That you lose your coach, that's the leader of the organization. I don't know about that locker room, whether Henry Ruggs was the team leader. I would guess probably not. I think Derek Carr is kind of the guy they look to be the leader of that team. And, his words, he showed some compassion for Ruggs, compassion for the family. It seems like he's kind of got his head on straight there, and he might be able to lead them through this. I do think that team-wide, this is a easier situation to deal with and to pick up the pieces from and move forward from than the Gruden, because he is that organization. When you lose him, it's a shock to the system, and they overcame it and they've played well. And they were able to reset on the bye, and then this stuff happened. So I don't think they're going to fall apart. I think they showed their resilience. I do think both these teams are a little bit underrated by the market. We're not really buying into the Raiders as much as we probably should be at this point. But the Giants have played better offensively than I think their record suggests as well. I think Joe Judge, the Ruggs stuff is tragic. Joe Judge is just pathetic. He's complaining about headsets. He's like, NFL needs to look into this. And they did, and they're like, yeah, we didn't find anything. I mean, you got to be accountable for your own mistakes. And I don't know how you can be the owner of that team or management of that team and want to keep this guy around and when he's doing this, complaining everywhere else but inward with what's going on here. So I think that was kind of embarrassing. I would lean to Vegas. I just think they're a stronger team. I don't really care too much about the road trip since they're coming off a bye week. So yeah, I would lean that way, but I'm probably just staying away.
I'll take the Giants here. I don't feel good about it by any stretch of the imagination. All I can think about is that game in what was it, 2019, when the Raiders went on the road to New York and lost 34-3 to the Jets. And then last year they almost lost to the Jets in MetLife Stadium as well. I think they won by 3 points. This is the Ruggs thing, just from a football perspective. I mean, it matters. Like he was a really important player and he's playing some good football. All of a sudden you lose that kind of deep threat, and I don't know how they replace it. And from a football perspective, I don't know how they come out and you can't just replicate that sort of ability to get deep quickly. So I will take the Giants, but I don't feel great about it. Certainly wouldn't be a best bet. I'm with you, RJ. Joe Judge. I mean, what is this guy doing? The NFL even issued a statement 45 minutes later, or maybe the next day, whatever it was. They're like, we looked at the equipment and there was nothing wrong with it. And we haven't heard from the Giants all season long about these issues with their equipment. So Joe Judge is just making up this excuse 8 weeks into the season about how his headset doesn't work in any stadium that he goes to, as if the NFL is systematically targeting the New York Giants to take them down via faulty equipment and headsets. What are you doing, man? It's pathetic.
Brinson, what do you do when you lose at Madden?
I blame the controller and I claim the internet's wonky. Exactly. I throw the controller and I call my brother a jerk, or I call my son a sussy baka, and I say, no, we're done playing here. Like if I lose at same thing if I lose at Super Smash Bros. I call him a cheater. I call my 7-year-old son a cheater, and I storm out of the room, and I blame the controller. It's what any grown man does, RJ. Giants, but don't feel good about it. It's gross. By the way, Giants leading rusher in 2021, Daniel Dimes. Since Jason Garrett took over, the Giants have the only team that has less points per game than the Giants, who are at 18.2, are the Jets at 15.5. The Giants also run the fewest plays per game with motion of any team in the NFL, 17.6, since Jason Garrett took over. So in case you weren't aware, Jason Garrett.
But this year, Jacksonville runs fewer plays with motion.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, this year they do.
Oh, fancy, Pete. So the YouTubers think you checked out, Pete. You're like reading a book or like eating a banana or something.
No, I'm listening to you babble like I always do. Move it along, Brinson.
He only checks out when I'm talking. So
move it along. No, I listen.
We're moving along. We're like halfway through, which is a perfect time to tell you that if you want to wear some custom clothes, if you want the best custom clothes, perfectly manufactured and tailored to your specific body type, there's nothing better than Indochino. I can tell you because, not like I've been wearing Indochino every single day for the last year, but I have had to go to several weddings. In fact, one was a second wedding. And I'm not exactly in the same shape I was when the pandemic started, right? A little bit more robust perhaps. And I needed to figure out how to get clothes that were perfectly tailored to me. So I went to go on Indochino, and you can log on to the website and you fill out like 10 different things, like your shoulder size, your waist size. You measure yourself at home, and then you fill those out, and you get these custom fitted shirts sent right to you. You don't have to be stuffed into a shirt that you thought fit 9 months ago or 18 months ago or whatever it was. You get this cool Indochino custom shirt sent to your house. You put it on. You look fantastic. There is nothing better than a custom fitted shirt sent directly to your house. I don't like going out and seeing people. Pete, you would like this. You don't like seeing people. You don't like interacting with people.
I don't.
Right.
But I don't see anywhere on their website where it says barrel chest with turtle arms. Fit that shirt.
Turtle arms, little tiny turtle.
Yeah, I got little short arms. I got short arms. That's a problem.
Look, I don't like seeing people. I don't like interacting with people in person. I don't mind doing
You went
all
to
that.
somebody's second wedding. You clearly like interacting with
Okay,
people.
I'm just kidding. I like people. I don't like interacting with strangers. I don't want to go shop for clothes anywhere else. I want to be able to get custom fitted stuff sent to my house without dealing with anything. And Indochino does just that. They offer completely fitted custom suits, shirts, casual wear, and more at surprisingly affordable prices. Every piece is made to your exact measurements, and you can customize every detail. You want to add RWB on the pocket of the shirt?
You monogram your shirts. There's no doubt.
Baby, I monogram.
Indochino monograms that Bobby Brinson on that sleeve over there.
RWB3. That's right. RWB IV. I'm actually the first, but you get the point. You can choose everything about your suit, from the fabric, lapel, monogram, and statement linings. You can create a suit that fits you and your style perfectly. And the best part, Indochino suits start at just $3.99 with all customizations included. They're now open at select Nordstrom stores. So maybe if you do like dealing with people, you can go and get your great fitted Indochino clothes at a Nordstrom. Find your nearest location at Indochino.com. And right now, you can get $50 off any purchase of $3.99 or more by using promo code PICK6 at checkout. That's $50 off a purchase of $3.99 or more at Indochino, INDOCHINO.com. Promo code PICK6. Okay. By the way,
and Brinson, that's promo code PICK6, PICKSIX.
Yes, thank you, SIX, not with the letter 6, not the number 6. By the way, I almost lost it in talking about that because somebody wrote in the chat, use promo code Turtle Arms for 10% off.
Not bad. But back to going to somebody's second wedding. Did they actually have a wedding, like a ceremony and all that you went to? You had to get dressed up and you went?
Yeah, it was up in Charlottesville. It was on a Friday, actually.
Wait, so they got divorced, they got remarried? Is that it?
No. It's his second wife.
Oh, second wife.
Yeah. They didn't have like a second wedding. No. They wasn't like a second wedding for
Okay, so like he ditched the first wife and then got remarried.
Well, I don't know if ditched. Yes, I mean ditched. Maybe not. He separated from the first wife and then got remarried. Yes.
Prisco, more importantly, Brinson went to this wedding in Charlottesville and couldn't speak for an entire week after the fact.
That is true.
Oh, that was the weekend. Okay, all right.
My wife couldn't go because we couldn't find anybody to watch Robbie, so I was up.
Yeah, I don't know if you really make a real effort to go to the second wedding.
I'm with you. I've skipped I've skipped a second wedding before.
Did you go to the first one?
No, oddly enough, I didn't. Because it's a long story, but it was on a Sunday. His first wedding was on a Sunday. His second wedding was on a Friday.
Yeah, I don't. I'm a big no-go on second weddings.
I skipped the second wedding of two people who met at my wedding. It was a second wedding for one of the people, and it was the first wedding for the other person. But the two people met at my wedding. Was the person married who at the time of your wedding when you met them? I was gonna say, you home wrecker. No. That would be odd though. But no, now those two people who met at my wedding are happily married with 2 kids. I haven't seen them in forever, but they're great people.
So Brinson isn't a complete mush. That's the moral of the story.
That's right.
That's with his football picks, RJ.
That's right. Just with the football picks. I agree with you though. Second weddings, you can't if you want to skip a second wedding, you can skip a second wedding with 0 repercussions. And
then there's always the vow renewal.
Oh, that's just ridiculous.
What did they do? What are you trying to get past?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Every time I hear somebody, we're going to have a vow renewal. What did he do? What'd she do? What did you do? Somebody did something.
Somebody did something to get these vows renewed. Like it's just not. You don't love each other that much. I'm telling you that.
Well, what did he do or what did she do? Somebody did something.
That's exactly right. All right, let's keep it moving. Chargers. Oh, I'm on my second wedding with the Chargers. Broke up with them after they ditched Phillip Rivers, and I'm sort of back on them. I kind of love the Chargers now. Chargers minus 1.5 at the Eagles. Over under of 50 here, Pete.
Yeah, and here's the thing about the Chargers. 3 weeks ago, you and your Twitter cult posse were putting Staley in the Hall of Fame. Oh, he's the greatest. Look how he goes for it all the time. Oh my gosh, we've never seen anything like this. And look at his speeches on Twitter. It's the greatest thing in the world. And 2 games where he's just been totally outcoached by 2 of the best. And now all of a sudden you're thinking, well, who are the Chargers? He's taken, and the offensive system has taken a gunslinger in Justin Herbert and turned him into a guy who's not close to being the same guy he was a year ago. Something's wrong there. And so I don't have a real feel for this team. I really don't. Going east, I know that's always a challenge, but I just think I'm going to put all my faith in Justin Herbert to get it going and get it right in this spot. So I'll take the Chargers, but I'm concerned about the way they're playing.
I have concerns as well. I thought they did play better last week coming out of the bye. I have a best bet on the Chargers -1.5. This line steamed toward the Eagles early in the week. I was a little bit suspicious of that considering the early week timing. It seemed like, apt for a head fake and getting sharps, getting money down at 1 or 1.5. Philly ran all over a bad Detroit team. Chargers have a terrible rush defense, so maybe they could do the same here. I don't know if they commit to that game plan though, because now they're going up against an offense helmed by Justin Herbert, so it's a little bit different than going up against the Detroit offense. So I think it's tough to go all in on Philly, considering they were looking at trading Cox before the deadline, and so when Fletcher Cox's name is popping up in trade rumors, if you're in that locker room, I don't know how much you think that you can compete this year. If it seems like management doesn't think you can compete this year, so the Chargers offense needs to get better on first and second down. They've been atrocious on first and second down and great on third down early in the year, and that's why they were having success. Philly's defense is 26th on third down and 29th in the red zone. So in those key spots, the defense is letting them down, and I think the Chargers can take advantage of that. I probably have them rated too highly with my number of Chargers -3.5, but I don't think it's that far off. So 1.5, I'm getting good enough value to lay them as a best bet here.
I've got the Chargers as a best bet as well. This is a team that I think is undervalued right now because of their two consecutive losses, right? Didn't they lose the?
Yes, 2 consecutive losses.
Yeah, that's right. The Chargers, everyone, the Twitter cult, my Twitter cult, the yuck yuck Twitter cult decided that to praise Brandon Staley and heap all the praise on him, and he has since lost to John Harbaugh and Bill Belichick. Well, Harbaugh and the Ravens put a beating on him going into the bye. The Chargers were able to, the Patriots, were able to go out west and steal a win, 27-24, close game, obviously. But the Patriots I think the Patriots are a good team. I don't think the Patriots are as bad as people think. We'll get to them in a minute. But, this is a Eagles team that is not good. And the Chargers are more than capable of taking to the sky and lobbing the ball all over this Eagles defense. Philly thumped Detroit, but Detroit's awful. I just think the outcomes of the last 2 weeks or so is skewing the value here. I like the Chargers to win the game and to cover the 1.5 as a best bet as well.
So you both have it as a best bet. Throw it in there as the parlay because I like them too, but I'm concerned about them.
Okay. All right. Chargers and 49ers in the parlay. Chargers -1.5, 49ers +1. And again, with the 49ers, go ahead and bet that parlay. We'll get the last leg here in a second. Texans at the Dolphins. The 1-7 Dolphins, Pete, are -6.5. I mean, what a world. 45.5 is the over-under here. Tyrod Taylor is, according to all reports, trending like he's going to come back this week, which I would think will move this line if it hasn't already moved a little bit.
Yeah, it's probably bloated. I don't
5.5 now on Caesars, but
I don't love this game. I mean, anytime you have 2 bad teams, it's hard to evaluate the game, and these 2 teams are bad. And normally in that situation, I'll take the home team. But again, that spread is gigantic. I'll still take the Dolphins because I think Tua's actually played some decent football. And the offensive line's been bad. I get it, but it's not like they got the fearsome foursome on the other side over there. So they have troubles on defense. So I'll take the Dolphins. But again, it's not a play I really love. I'm just taking it because it's the home team against the bad team. And when bad teams come play bad teams, you got to think that the road team is going to have problems.
Well, Tyrod Taylor is back. He's expected to play. This was reported before we hopped on the podcast. So I took it early in the week at +7. I have it as a best bet here at +6.5. It moved to 5.5 with that news. I think it's going to keep going down because the Dolphins are a bad team. I was on Houston last week knowing that Tyrod would practice, and I thought we'd get great value on Houston if he played. He didn't play. That line went up. We didn't get great value. They still almost covered in the back door. Miraculously, they did on the closing number. So congrats if you got them on the closing number. So this line barely accounted for him playing because you move it a lot when you have Tyrod in there versus Davis Mills. And Dolphins don't deserve to be favorites of more than 3 against any competent team. And this team showed they could be competent with Tyrod. They won their first game against a bad team. They were even with the Browns, and then he got hurt, and they've been a disaster since. So now that the trade deadline is passed, I think Texans players can that remain on the team can focus on getting wins. They don't have to worry about whether they're going to be playing in a week or two. And so with Miami not being, no business being these big favorites, teams can run on Houston with great success too. Miami has attempted the fewest rushes with 3.8 yards per carry in the league. So I don't know that they'll commit to the run. Tua is dealing with a finger injury on his throwing hand. I mean, there's a lot here that trends to where the Dolphins shouldn't be this big favorite. So love getting Houston plus 6.5 as a best bet.
Yeah. Houston is the best bet at plus 6.5 for me as well. And I'm sort of, when I was looking at this game, it's basically the same logic that RJ was talking about last week. I didn't like the Texans last week because I didn't know if Tyrod was going to be back. And you are correct. David Culley actually announced it. He was our starting quarterback and got hurt. Culley said he's back healthy now and he's starting. The fact he's been our leader going into the year, will that help us? I hope so. We'll see. It should. Tyrod Taylor, Davis Mills, as we pointed out, is an unfairly had this situation unfairly foisted upon him. And a rookie quarterback with that kind of protection and those kind of weapons is just not going to win a ton of games. But they did manage to score against the Rams late, as you point out, coming in the back door on the final number. I think we've got a situation where Tyrod Taylor and the Texans could go win this game in Miami. This is like a sort of a spite revenge spot too for all these draft picks that these teams have swapped, where the Texans would love nothing more. And I know that the players don't care about this, but they would be if the Texans would have nothing more than to make the Dolphins sink even further and maybe give away the top overall pick to the Eagles this coming offseason.
Definitely sprinkle some money on it. That's what I do. When I put my play in, it was about 60% on the spread or 65% and 35 on the money line. So I definitely think there's a chance they win this game.
Absolutely. Browns at the Bengals. Massive game. Let me ask you this, Pete. I thought Andrew Siciliano tweet this on Wednesday evening. He said this has been the craziest 48 hours in an NFL news cycle that he can remember. Do you think that's initially I was like, that's not true. There have been crazier cycles. But I mean, this has been a pretty wild 48 hours in the NFL, including the Odell Beckham is just never going to play for the Browns again, and they're going to keep him active and not trade him or not cut him situation that's unfolding here with Cleveland.
It has been a crazy 48 hours. I mean, it's hard to say it's been the craziest 48 hours. I mean, we've had periods in free agency where it's begun nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But the thing about Odell Beckham, and I've sent out some videos on him. Odell Beckham has bad body language. And in fairness to him, there's been times he's been open and he hasn't thrown it to him. But he's not getting open as much as him and his dad would like you to believe. I don't think he's as good as he used to be. I don't think he's close to being as good as he used to be. And that's concerning. So I get it. He's frustrated, but every single play that he doesn't get the ball, he thinks he's open and he's got some bad body language. And on the fourth down play, I sent the tweet out last night. I didn't send the play out, but I saw that Chris Trapasso, who works for us, did send the play out. It's fourth down. At the end of the game, you're down 5, and he's got a safety over the top. I get it. He jogged his route. You can't do that. And so I think the whole situation, they looked at it and they said, you know what? We're better off without this guy. It's not like he's winning consistently. Just get him out of here. And that's what I would do. And everybody out there, you got to go get Odell Beckham. He's the greatest. No, he's not. He's not the same player. He hadn't been good for 3 years. So I think.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, by the way, I told Pete today, RJ and Devo, told him on text, I said, Pete, I think you'd be great on TikTok. And Pete got mad at me and thought I was being really sarcastic about him being on TikTok. I said, no, these TikTokers eat up the like tape, like all 22 tape. Devo, can you please confirm to Pete that I was not being sarcastic and that he would be a legend on TikTok?
Yeah, this is one of those rare cases for Brinson. Film is highly regarded in the TikTok community.
Wow. Who knew? I thought that all he did was do crazy dances.
You could be the next Patrick Mahomes' brother.
I think we set week 11 by the time we get Prisco on TikTok. 1 TikTok a week for the Pick 6 account.
Let's do it, Pete.
It won't be from the Pick 6 account. It'll be my account. So when I become a TikTok legend.
You're not
All
gonna
right. We got 200K followers to push out there.
Yeah, well, I'll have 500 because I'm going to be a TikTok legend. I'm going to have old man takes. Like, I don't need nobody motivating me. That's become a thing on Twitter. You know that. Everybody sends out, oh, my good morning motivational speech for the day. Get it out of here.
Yeah, I don't need that. You guys,
No, I don't think most people don't.
Get up and do your work. Anyway, the Browns -2, or excuse me, the Bengals -2.5.
I'm going to take the Bengals here. I think the Bengals. You know what happened to the Bengals? They went to Baltimore. They had a sandwich game. They got caught in between. They looked up. Next thing they know, they go, "Oh no, how are we getting out from underneath this?" And they started to get out from underneath it, and they couldn't get out from underneath it. And before the game was done. So I think they'll play better in this one. I still think the Browns have issues in terms of throwing the football. We know that. And so I'm going to take the Bengals in this spot.
Yeah, I have the Bengals as the best bet. Line had been waffling between 2.5 and 3. I think you definitely need to grab 2.5 because it'll get bet up to 3 or more. Cleveland beats bad teams by relying on the run game. The offense hasn't looked good aside from that win against the Chargers, who are terrible against the run, as we know. Beckham's situation is a complete distraction this week. I don't know how they're going to respond. Maybe they do like to have him out of the locker room and they rally around that, but I just think it's too much of a distraction. Everybody getting asked about it. Since he isn't a bad team, despite the loss and the letdown spot to the Jets, the run defense is 5th in yards per rush allowed. So I think that they will be able to handle the Browns offense pretty easily. Browns defense overall numbers are good, but they gave up 33 to the Chiefs, 47 to the Chargers, and 37 to Arizona. When you play these good offenses, it seems like they can be beat. And the Cincy offense, I think at this point is good. I think the line should be Cincy -6. So ton of value getting it at 2.5. I love Bengals as a best bet.
I am going to play the narrative game here. And I know you guys like the Bengals. I will take the Browns. I think that if you look, I don't know why Baker Mayfield plays better without Odell Beckham. It doesn't make any. I mean, aside from the fact that, as Pete points out, Pete Puck. I'm trying to think what could do TikTok name. Pete Puck. Pete
Where
Prisco,
are you going?
I don't know. Pete Prisco on TikTok is what I was trying to go with that. As you point out, Beckham has been lazy. Like, he hasn't played well. He's had a ton of drops. But I think that I just think the Browns are going to have this spite game for Odell Beckham where Beckham's gone and Baker comes out. This is like Baker's MO. It's just playing well to spite somebody. So I will take the Browns as a best bet, catching 2.5 in what will forever be known as the Odell Beckham game, because Baker blows up and has a huge game against the Bengals, and it's simply out of spite. That's all. That's the only narrative that I'm taking. I don't care that it's stupid. By the way, the last time the Browns beat the Bengals, Week 7, 2020, when Odell Beckham tore his ACL. He disappeared.
By the way, I mean, you're trying to come up with a name for Prisco for TikTok. He already has the perfect handle if he's going to be breaking down film, and that's at Learn the Game.
At Learn the. Oh, there you go. Did you set up and Learn the Game on TikTok?
No, I have
not.
We're
going to get him set up. Yeah, make him learn the game. Make sure it's nobody take that, because we're going to get Pete set up with that.
By the way, this is the 7th time the Bengals have started 5-3. They've only made the playoffs twice when they started 5-3, and twice 2 out of 7. That is pretty terrible. 1981 and 1990. That's kind of wild. Broncos at the Cowboys. Cowboys -10, over under 49.5. Pete.
Yeah, and I think Dak Prescott's going to play, right? I mean, it looks that way, and he's trending in that direction. So I think they get back track on offense. The Denver offense is putrid. It's really bad, and I think 10 points is a ton in this. I hate laying double digits, but I'm going to lay it here. I don't love this game. But what is the message of Von Miller going out the door saying to the players in that building? That you're playing for the future. And they don't even have Chubb back. They have some young guys they like. But I think Dak Prescott, even back limited, is going to be able to do whatever he wants with those receivers. I know Lamb is banged up too. But I'm going to take the Cowboys and lay the 10. I don't love it, but I will lay the 10.
Yeah, it says that we're 4-4. We're in the thick of this division race, and we don't think we have a chance. That's why we're trading our best defensive player in Von Miller. So Denver's not good, and they know it, and that sends a message to the locker room pretty emphatically. I got this in early, Cowboys minus 7.5 before that deal, because I thought with Dak back it was going to trend up anyway. So I played it at 7.5. I think the Denver only managed 273 yards against the Washington defense that's gotten gashed, and they had Judy back for that game. So I think the window's kind of closed on getting value on Dallas. If you didn't get it early in the week, I wouldn't play it here at 10. So I hope you jumped on it early. I don't think there's really a play to be made at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if I was betting on this game, I would take the Cowboys. I think you just begrudgingly have to take Dallas as like there are too many like guys who are up in the air right now for to really make this a best bet of any kind, right? I mean, Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb are all in the injury report. When I was writing my picks up last night, why am I hearing myself? Did you hear that?
Once is enough for us. Come on. Don't do that to us.
Okay. I was like, who is that suave sounding gentleman yelling on my telephone? I was trying to get in the chat and explain something, but I won't. Anyway. Oh, by the way, if you're in the YouTube chat, hit the like button, smash that puppy, bang. I think I would take the Cowboys here, but I need to know more about the specific injuries related to that offense. And then Tyron Smith, I'm a little concerned about that too. We've seen the Cowboys completely crater when Tyron Smith is missing, but that's something to watch. Without Von Miller, no Bradley Chubb, I think the Broncos are a little toothless on offense, and Dak should be able to put up plenty of points in this matchup. I would take the Cowboys fight to make a pick today. Patriots at the Panthers. Patriots minus 3.5, over under 41, Pete.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations where I think back-to-back road games kind of goes out the window and gets evened out by the fact that Belichick is so good in getting his team ready to play again. And they look to me like a team that's getting better on defense by the week, and Mac Jones is getting better. So the Carolina offense is awful. I don't care who plays quarterback, and Sam Darnold looks like he's going to be back. He's bad. The line is bad. It's a bad offense, and Belichick will eat that thing alive. So for that reason, I don't usually laying points in this spot with a team playing consecutive road games, but I'm going to take the Patriots.
Yeah, it was 3.5. It climbed a little from 3.5, and now it's back to 3.5. 80% of tickets have been on New England. Everybody wants to be on New England. You can see why, because they look good the last few weeks. Carolina's defense might be getting back into form with Gilmore in the fold. It's a major revenge spot for that guy, obviously. I know Brinson's going to play the revenge narrative there on him, but you don't get any more revenge in this spot than Stephon Gilmore. McCaffrey looks like he might be back. That would be huge for this offense. We saw how the offense fell apart completely, but no certainty that he does at this point. We can't just assume he's going to be back. We saw that with Tyrod last week. So I can't see Darnold having success against a Belichick defense. And if Darnold can't play, I can't see PJ Walker having success against a Belichick defense. So I would lean to the Patriots also at minus 3.5, even though, with my power ratings, I think there's a little bit of value on the Panthers, but that defense against these quarterbacks, I can't take it.
Yep. I got the Patriots as the best bet. I actually didn't even think about the Stephon Gilmore revenge game. I must be slipping in my old age. I do think that the Darnold thing, if he plays, he's both dealing with a concussion and a right shoulder injury, limited in practice on Wednesday. We'll see if he can go. The last time Belichick and Darnold squared off, I believe, would have been the See and Ghost Monday Night Primetime game, where Darnold was so shook by the Patriots defense that the Jets were unable to move the football. And this Panthers offense is not much better. If Christian McCaffrey's back, maybe that changes a little bit. The Panthers defense is playing well, but they're 19th in the NFL in rush DVOA. And Damian Harris, last 4 games, 17.3 rush attempts per game, 86.3 rush yards per game, and 5 rushing touchdowns. He should eat in this spot. And Matthew Judon, 4th in the NFL with 8 sacks, the most sacks by a Pats player since 2018. He will definitely eat in this spot because the Panthers offensive line is a abject disaster that the offense just can't get going. I don't see how the Panthers score more than 14 to 17 points here. And I think the Patriots will be able to get up to 21 with 3 rushing touchdowns, maybe all from Damian Harris. We'll see. Bears at the Steelers. But yeah, Patriots best bet for me. Bears at the Steelers. Steelers minus 6.5, over under of 40, Pete.
I think the Steelers are getting things going. And it's obviously it starts with their defense, and this is a bad spot for that that Bears offense. Justin Fields had to run last week, and he did, but that's not the way you survive in this league consistently. And so I think the Steelers are going to get after him, bad offensive line in front of him, and they're going to turn the ball over, lead to short fields. Pittsburgh's offense, they're running the ball better. The line is getting better. So I'm going to take the Steelers minus the points in this one.
The Pittsburgh pass rush could destroy the Chicago offense and that offensive line. So that's my concern. Everything else points me to the Bears on this one. Justin Fields coming off one of his better games, getting zero respect here. Maybe that's because Matt Nagy's back on the sideline. And that everybody kind of predicts that offense is going to fall apart again. But the Pittsburgh offense still isn't really impressing me at all. I'm surprised they're laying so many points, even against a bad team. The total's telling you it's going to be a low-scoring game at 40, and then those big spreads, 6.5, is an even tougher cover when the total's only 40, because that means Chicago is hardly scoring anything. And that could be the case in this game, if the Pittsburgh front gets after it and just dominates that offensive line. So I'm only a lean to the Bears, a strong lean. I think you might be able to get 7 later in the week on a Monday. So we'll look to play that. If it does get to 7, I'm probably definitely on it.
Yeah, this one is, it's just tricky, right? This is the Monday night game,
Very.
Obviously. Yeah, I think I look at the number and immediately think, man, that's too many points for a Bears team that could potentially come through the back door. But I kind of side with Pete and think the Steelers might be starting to cook a little bit, and maybe we'll be able to make a playoff run here when everybody had buried them for dead. And the thing with the offensive line, RJ, is just terrifying. I mean, they're going to be in Justin Fields' kitchen all night long in this game. It'll be a pretty hectic. I think it'll be a pretty crazy environment there in Pittsburgh. Tough spot for a young quarterback, even and like he played better, but it was mostly because he was just running around and and they. I don't know. I can't back the Bears. They're just so lethargic. It'll require a superhuman game from Justin Fields. And then you think about the Bears defense and all the injuries that they're dealing with. The Steelers should be able to run against them, even with the Steelers' bad offensive line. I think the injuries and sort of the matchup just favors the Steelers here. I don't like laying it, but I will in this case, not as a best bet. Finally, the Bills, minus 14.5 at the Jaguars. Over, under 48.5. Josh Allen in his last 6 road starts, 5-1, 37.3 points per game, 316 pass yards a game, 21 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Does he start building an MVP case this week in Jay Vegas, Pete?
Jacksonville's pass defense is awful.
Yep.
I mean, awful. They can't rush the passer. They don't cover. And I don't think we've seen the best of the Bills passing game yet this year. I don't think Diggs is putting up the numbers that he'll eventually get to. And I think this is the perfect spot for that to start happening. I think Josh Allen has a monster day here. They light him up. It will be more Bills fans in that stands maybe this week than Jaguar fans. So I'll take Buffalo.
Yeah, the vast majority of the tickets this week have been on Buffalo because Jacksonville is objectively terrible. Buffalo did cover against Miami. It was a 6-point game late in the fourth quarter, and the offense hadn't played well. So it's interesting that even on their games where they're bad against bad defenses, they're still able to pull it out and cover. I don't trust the Jacksonville offense that much. They might be able to get to 17-20 if the Buffalo defense kind of is on cruise control in a game they expect to win. Buffalo isn't a run in the second half, win ahead and chew the clock up team. They're going to throw, and Josh Allen's going to go for that MVP. So I think they can score 40. I think my lean here's to the over at 48.5. I'm not great on totals, so I don't want to put it in as a best bet. But if I'm taking this game, it's going to be the over.
You getting in the car and heading up? You getting in the car and heading up there, RJ?
No, I didn't. If I didn't see
a drive, isn't it?
It's not that long.
It's 4.5 hours.
No, yeah, that's. If I want to watch the Bills, I mean, there's a much closer team. I can watch them play every year. So.
Yeah, you're true. That's true.
Is it really only 4.5 hours? I thought it was further than that.
No, it's 4.5 hours. Believe me, I've made it many a time. It's 4.5 hours.
God, you used to fly instead of driving. What a diva you are. I'm just kidding. Look, I wish this was 13.5 because I'd make the Bills a best bet like last week, and they did. They snuck in the back door. I mean, they had no. It was like the reverse.
No business covering.
No business covering, but they did it anyway. Thank you, Bills, for helping me avoid helping me 4-1 week on my best bets. Thanks,
4-2.
4-2.
Stop with the 4-1. 4-2.
4-1 week. We're getting hot. It's the perfect time.
I went 2-0 last week. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I eliminated all my losers too. I had 3-0. Good week for me.
Interesting how you guys are doing that. I agree with you though. I think this is a 40 burger from the Bills, and The only question is, will the Jaguars score? I think they will. So I would tend to side with RJ on that over being a pretty good bet. I mean, that's a high total for a good defense going up against a terrible team. I think it implies, like, what is the Buffalo team total in this game? Do we know?
The over under is 48 and a half. So it would be probably 48 and a half, I think.
48 and a half. Let's see if I can.
Well,
find
Trevor
it.
Lawrence is throwing the guys who weren't on the team when the season started. Those are his top two guys. Or, well, Agnew was a converted corner kick returner.
Oh man, I'll tell you what's a good bet on Caesars right now. We talked about this last week too. Bills over 3.5 touchdowns, -120. That's they're going to score 4 touchdowns in this game.
I agree.
Easily.
I agree.
Okay, so yeah, I would lean towards the Bills, but certainly not a best bet for me. We need one more leg for the parlay.
We'll put the Bills in.
How about the Bills over?
Yeah, either the Bills over on that game or
Either one. I'm with both of you.
Pete, is Pete's audio bad for you?
Yeah, let's Pete. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
See you, Pete.
So we can stick with that over under. The other two I was looking at were Packers, because I know you guys both like that, and I was a lean there, even though I threw the other side in the teaser. And then Patriots, I think, was the other one where we lined up on. So if we want to go Bills Jaguars over, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go Bills over. Bills over 48.5. So the can't miss. Pete's gone. Yes, we know his audio is terrible. It was killing us too. It was easier for Debo just to let Pete go, tell him to leave, than to actually try and fix the audio. That's just how it works. Be glad that Pete's audio is only bad for.
He lasted 70 minutes. That's impressive.
I think he sabotages it intentionally as we get close to the end, so we can leave early.
That's right. The won't hit parlay is 49ers +1, Chargers -1.5, Bills over 48.5. I think it's going to hit this week, actually. Pete Prisco's best bets: Giants +3, Falcons +6, Vikings +6. Look, oh my Lord, look at all these dogs. 49ers +1, Packers +7.5, and Rams, Titans over 53.5. RJ's best bets: Texans +6.5, Bengals -2.5. By the way, leave your best bet in the comments on YouTube and hit that like button if you're watching, no matter what, whether it's live or not. Bengals -2.5, Chargers -1.5, 49ers +1, and a Rams and Chiefs teaser. Uh-oh. Why do I have so many best bets? My best bets: Chargers -1.5, 49ers +1, Pats -3.5, Browns +2.5, Packers +7.5, Titans over 53.5, Texans +6.5, and Ravens -6. What could go wrong with 8 best bets, RJ?
Why do I like most of those picks? This is going to be an awful week. I need to take a step back.
I don't know. I wrote these down. I was feeling it last night when I was doing my picks. I was just sort of, man, I kind of like some of these bets. I almost took 2 or 3 of them out of there, but then 5 felt like too few. But eight's what could go wrong with 8 best bets on a week of professional?
So if you're one of the people that put an 8-leg parlay together, fading all of those picks, good luck. I like a lot of those picks, so I might just have to do it as a hedge.
As an emotion, a hedge against your
Brinson can't possibly put 2 good weeks in a row together. So
I can't, babe. We're getting hot. It's time to. I gotta get back to above 500.
I hope so. If you're hot, I'm hot this week because we shared some picks there.
Well, those are the all organic grass-fed, 100% organic grass-fed picks right there. No hormone free, as we like to joke about our college football picks. 8-0. That's right, Jacob. We're going 8-0, baby. Believer. We're getting hot this weekend. Okay. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. For Pete's crappy audio, for RJ, for Debo, I'm Brinson. We will see you guys on Sunday.